Hi, my name is Stefania Bojica, I'm 15 years old and I am a tennis player. I compete and travel around the world for ITF tournaments. In this video I would like to talk about my experience with Wolsey Hall as an online school. So let's get onto it! As an elite tennis player, online school with Wolsey Hall has helped me a lot as it gives me more time for my tennis trainings. It also allows me to travel more often while doing school. When I was in a traditional school, I couldn't have a flexible schedule to provide me with more time for my training and traveling. It was also pretty hard to catch up on my schoolwork that I missed.
Hello, my name is Oliver and I'm 12 years old and I've been studying with Wolsey Hall since September in 2020. When I had an introduction to homeschooling during the first pandemic and the lockdown of schools, I found that I really loved the experience of learning from home. We wondered how we would be able to make this a reality and started to research all of the different homeschooling providers and different methods of learning from home to see which one would work for me and my family. After much searching, we decided on Wolsey Hall and have never looked back.
Welcome to this Wolsey Hall Oxford Homeschooling Information Webinar for secondary level. We have families joining us from all around the world today, so a big welcome to you all. I'm Jessie, Senior Admissions Officer at Wolsey Hall. I'm joined here today by a number of colleagues, both from our admissions and academic teams, who will be answering your questions today. Just to let you know, we are recording this webinar and will send out a link of the recording to all of you via email in a few days. You will be able to rewatch the event and also to share it with your family and friends. Before we begin the question and answer session, we have a short video to share with you today, followed by a summary presentation from our Head of Secondary, Ruth Young, and Careers and University Advisor, Sarah Wilson. You may find that some of the questions you have are answered in the video and presentation itself. Please do not type any questions into the Q&A until the video and presentation are complete, as we won't be able to answer any questions that are posted before the Q&A session. Thank you. Please enjoy the video and the presentation, and then we will begin the Q&A session.
Welcome to Wolsey Hall Oxford. Today, we'll share how Wolsey Hall can enhance your child's educational experience outside the traditional mainstream school setting. Wolsey Hall Oxford was established in 1894 and has evolved significantly. We offer a comprehensive online educational solution for families, catering to students from 3.5 to 18 years old, as well as mature students seeking to extend their educational journey. We are proud to help students in over 130 countries with their educational pathways leading to careers, universities, and colleges. Our alumni include notable figures such as Nelson Mandela, but we are proud of each student we help on their educational journey. Wolsey Hall Oxford is a registered Cambridge online school, delivering curriculum from Cambridge, one of the leading examination boards globally, and notably, we were the first primary online Cambridge school to be recognised by the board. This affiliation makes us part of a family of over 10,000 Cambridge schools worldwide. Each year, thousands of IGCSE and A-level candidates take their external examinations through the Cambridge Exam Board, leading to globally recognised qualifications. Additionally, we are a recognised Pearson edXcel centre, offering a selection of subjects from Pearson edXcel, another globally recognised examination board. What makes Wolsey Hall Oxford unique is our individualised approach to each child. We provide personalised learning pathways for homeschoolers, allowing each student to create a bespoke portfolio of subjects and progress at a pace that is suitable for them in a truly personal learning journey. We offer structured, planned curricula so you can choose the subjects you wish to study, knowing that you will be provided with appropriate resources to challenge and extend your child's learning at home with access to our outstanding support. We seek to establish a strong partnership with our families to support both academics and the learning journey. We offer flexibility not only in the subjects your child studies, but also when you start the courses, as you can pick an access date that suits you and your child's study plans. We also offer placement flexibility, allowing you to choose the level of study that suits your child's current learning level. For example, a student may be studying Year 6 English alongside Year 7 Maths. Our admissions team is happy to discuss different study options so that you can create your child's unique learning journey with us. To help you understand where your child might fit in, let's outline the different phases of Wolsey Hall Oxford. We begin with lower primary, which includes getting ready for Year 1 and Years 1 and 2, usually suited to children from age 3.5 to 7 years old, followed by the upper primary phase, which includes Years 3, 4, 5 and 6, usually suited to children from 7 to 11 years old. Next is lower secondary, which includes Years 7, 8 and 9, and typically studied from 11 years old to 14 years old, followed by the examination phases of GCSE and IGCSE, usually studied from 14 years old to 16 years old. And finally, A-levels, usually studied from 16 years old to 18 years old. Each primary and lower secondary course is studied for up to 12 months and represents one academic year of study, following both the English National Curriculum and Cambridge Curriculum, where applicable. IGCSE and A-level courses are studied over 2 years and represent 2 academic years of study, following either Cambridge or Pearson edXcel specifications as appropriate. Both IGCSE and A-levels are internationally recognised qualifications. All our courses are hosted on our learning platform Canvas, which is secure and user-friendly. Each child enrolls on their courses as an individual, giving them control over their pace of learning and study schedule. In primary, the courses are parent-led, while in secondary, they are directed to the student, promoting autonomy and independence. Our structured, easy-to-follow courses include assignments and activities, blending online and offline learning, and resources like textbooks and subscriptions. We don't have online lessons, providing freedom and flexibility for families to set their own timetables. Videos scaffold learning, allowing students to work at their own pace. If you are interested in viewing the range of subjects available and samples of each course, please visit our website. Tutors and student progress managers provide support for families. Our UK qualified teachers mark assignments, give valuable feedback, and provide the next steps in learning. Your tutor is also available via messaging on our learning platform to support you when needed. Your student progress manager offers key support to the family and will be in touch with you on a regular basis. They will create an assignment schedule, monitor learning progress in all subjects, and be available for queries from parents and students. We also provide additional paid-for support services, including learning support and well-being, and a careers and university advisory service. Wolsey Hall Oxford is committed to providing a holistic education, and as such, we also offer extracurricular activities and clubs through the online Wolsey Hall community area, the online secondary forum, as well as maintaining active parent groups and newsletters. We hope you found this information helpful. Our admissions team look forward to discussing your child and their unique, personalised learning pathway with Wolsey Hall Oxford.
Good morning. It is lovely to see so many of you here today. My name's Ruth Young and I am the head of secondary at Wolsey Hall Oxford. I do hope you enjoyed the video that you've just seen, and it's given you an overview into how Wolsey Hall Oxford works, the type of courses that your child might choose to study on their homeschooling journey. So we're just going to give a little bit more detail and context to that video to help you really see where your child might fit into Wolsey Hall if you choose us as your homeschooling provider of choice. So just to pick up on something that the video did mention, which was the Wolsey Hall journey, the phases that we cover here at Wolsey Hall. We do cater for students all the way from 3.5 up to, we say 18, but actually mature students as well are welcome and do study with Wolsey Hall. Today, I'm going to focus in on the secondary section of Wolsey Hall, and we're often asked by prospective parents, how many subjects do I need to study with you? Is there a minimum number? And the answer is no. You as a homeschooling family are able to choose the right number of subjects for your child. So you are able to perhaps supplement other homeschooling that you're doing, or even mainstream education by studying one course. Or you may choose to study a larger number of courses in lower secondary and IGCSE, as you want them to have a full curriculum from Wolsey Hall Oxford. All of that is possible with us, and our admissions team are able to help you with that. But to be clear, there is no minimum number of subjects that you must study with Wolsey Hall. You are free to build your personal portfolio for your child. However, there are, parents often do ask for recommendations. Now, we always look at the individual child at Wolsey Hall. Your child is seen as an individual all through their learning journey with Wolsey Hall. They are essentially a class of one. And this means that for recommendations, it's always through the lens of what is right for your child. I mean, you know your children well, as obviously as parents, in terms of their interests and attributes and their aspirations. We are here to help and advise you as to the best combination of subjects and the right number. So in terms of lower secondary, if you're looking to Wolsey Hall for your child to study a full lower secondary curriculum, we would say it is sensible to have a range, a breadth of subjects, 5 or more in lower secondary, covering those core subjects, English, maths and science, and then a number of other subjects to enhance that foundation, such as history, geography, the humanities, perhaps a more practical subject like art and design, or music, and maybe a foreign language, French, German, or Spanish, to allow them to have that broad foundation upon which they can then build and move forward into the examination phases. It's really important to think about the steps that will come after lower secondary, because the IGCSE and GCSE phase builds upon that lower secondary knowledge. So by that, I mean, if your child wishes to study perhaps history at IGCSE, it would be highly recommended. And in fact, we would class it as it would be essential for them to have studied history in lower secondary in order for them to have that background to be able to access the IGCSE and lead to success. When we come into the IGCSE phase, again, there's no minimum number of subjects, but if your child is looking ahead onto college, university, a sixth form college, work, there are expectations from employers and colleges. So we would typically say a minimum number of subjects would be 5, including English, maths and science. But if your child is looking ahead to university and perhaps a competitive university course, such as medicine, veterinary science, we would typically be recommending a much higher loading of subjects in order for them to demonstrate to the university that they are able to cope with the academic rigor required. So in a mainstream school setting, students typically study anywhere between 8 and 11 subjects as a full IGCSE portfolio. So again, if you're looking at competitive university courses, and I'm sure Sarah will touch upon this a little bit later, we'd be looking at the higher end, so 10 or 11 IGCSEs. Moving on into A levels, this is where students start to specialise a little bit more, and we would typically recommend students are taking 3 subjects over the 2 academic years of the A level programme. Some students may take 4, and that, again, is something that can be discussed with our admissions team or indeed our careers and university advisory service to make sure it's the right fit for your child and what they are looking to do. Because, again, it will hinge upon what university they are looking to apply to or what job they're looking at in the future. So I hope that gives you a little overview of where your child might fit into the Wolsey Hall journey, but also the number of subjects. So moving on now to just the support that we give for families, just to give a little bit more detail about this. All of our UK qualified tutors are there to support your child on an academic level. They are a key point of contact when your child has questions about the work that they are studying, about the content that they are covering. And they are all highly skilled and experienced in assessing your child's work in terms of the assignments, the milestones that they will submit as they're working through their Wolsey Hall courses. Your child and yourselves will build up a relationship with your tutors. In secondary, you typically will have a larger number of tutors because we have subject specialists than we do in the primary section, and you'll be able to meet them at key points during your courses to discuss your child's progress, and also to make sure that that your child is very aware of what next steps they need to take in their learning. Now, the tutor academic support is overlaid by your student progress manager, and this will be one of the first people you meet after enrolling at Wolsey Hall, and they will be your key point of contact to do with your child's courses and how they are progressing. We really pride ourselves on having a strong partnership with our families, making sure that you are in the loop. So you are aware of all your child's progress, that you have someone that you can ask questions to as your child is studying, particularly in the secondary phase when you're looking at external examinations. We do recognise the need to have that point of contact and to have that support when questions come up. So you have a team of people who are there for you and your child as they progress through their studies. Just to follow on now to how our courses work, as the video mentioned, we offer a really flexible approach to homeschooling with Wolsey Hall. We do not have online lessons. This means that your child is able to progress at their own pace. They are not moving at the pace of a class. So if your child, for example, is finding a particular subject area challenging, it means they can spend more time on that before moving on to the next part. Or indeed, conversely, if they are finding a particular element fairly straightforward, it means they can move forward at a quicker pace, or, as recommended within our courses, is delve deeper into it and develop a deeper understanding and passion for that particular subject area. But that flexibility for our homeschooling families is something that they feed back to us that they truly value. They're able to make it work for them. There's no fixed timetable. They can fit their homeschooling studies around their busy family lives to make sure that you can have that balance between studying and family life and work as well. So after the courses working, just to go through quickly those courses in terms of the lower secondary courses we have on offer, just to say that we have a really wide range of courses. The blue ones on the screen that you see now are our core subjects, and those are the ones that we would always recommend students are studying. We have a range of other subjects to add to those core offerings. Just to pick up on one thing on here, that we obviously offer a history and international history course, as you can see. Both of those are perfect foundations for the IGCSE, but they just have a slightly different outlook. So our international history looks at history around the globe, so looking at different civilizations. Our history course is primarily UK Eurocentric. So again, depending where you're located in the world, you might feel that one suits your child better and their interests and passions, but you don't need to worry that you can go on to the IGCSE level. Moving on to IGCSE, this stands for International General Certificate of Secondary Education. The GCSE, same meaning, but just without the international element. We offer primarily IGCSE courses. We have one GCSE course, which is psychology, and that is Pearson EdXL. The remainder of our IGCSE courses are all from Cambridge International Education. You can see here that the core subjects in blue have somewhat expanded. This allows you to pick the right level of core subject for your child. So we have different types of science qualifications, single sciences. We have coordinated sciences, which means your child studies all 3 subjects, but in slightly less detail and leads to 2 IGCSE qualifications. So it's fabulous for those students who want to have a real breadth and keep all their doors open in terms of being able to study science at A level. But again, just reducing down that pressure and content loading. We also offer a combined sciences IGCSE, which is a 1 IGCSE qualification covering biology, chemistry, and physics. Again, a wonderful qualification for students who already know they don't want to do A-level sciences later. They're not going into that sphere of work, but they require a science qualification. One other subject I'll pick up on this slide is our art and design course. This is new this year. We will be enrolling in May for the next cohort. And so everyone is aware that course only has examinations in the summer session. It is a very exciting course for us to be able to offer at IGCSE because it is assessed wholly through remote invigilation. And this means that your child is able to do artwork at home and be assessed during that process, during the course. And then they will be able to be entered for their IGCSE, but not have to go to a centre to complete artwork. It will all be carried out from your home. Again, if you're interested in that course, please talk to your admissions team about how that works. We then move on to the A-level courses, and these courses, as I said before, typically students study between 3 and 4, and we have a range of subjects there that are offered from Cambridge and Pearson EdXL. Just to pick up about the external examinations now, all Wolsey Hall students enter their exams as private candidates at an exam centre of their choosing. This means that you register with an exam centre, and on the day that is set by the examination board, your child would go to the examination centre to actually sit, complete their papers, and for those papers to be sent off to the examination board. We recognise for homeschooling parents that can be quite a challenging process. So we have 2 examination officers at Wolsey Hall to help signpost you to your local centres to answer any questions you have regarding registering for exams, and are there to make sure that your child feels as confident and happy and has all the information they need before they go into those external assessments. The examination results will come directly to yourself or the centre that you've entered at. We do like to mention that if you live in a very remote area, it is quite possible that you will need to travel to reach your local exam centre. But again, our admissions team will be able to advise if that would apply. Just moving through the last couple of slides before I pass over to Sarah. At Wolsey Hall, as I mentioned, we want to make sure that parents have what they need when they are reviewing their child's progress. So there are elements within the secondary courses where there is recognition of the studies that your child has completed in terms of end of course reports and progress reports, so that you have the necessary documentation to show your child's progress in their homeschooling studies. We also have a vibrant student community, and within the communities we have a range of different clubs, because it's not all about the academics when you're homeschooling. We really believe in nurturing the whole child, and therefore we have a range of clubs that your child can be involved in, such as debate club, creative writing, art, cookery. there's something for everyone, and they run some of them run face-to-face sessions during the month, and it's an opportunity for your child to connect with other students from around the globe. We mentioned in the video the additional support we offer to families. So we have a range of services, including learning support and wellbeing, and further details of that can be found on our website. But at this stage, I'm going to pass over to Sarah, our Careers and University Advisor, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the Careers and University service that we have at Wolsey Hall. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah, you're just on mute.
Unmute myself, child sharer. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Sarah, and I run the Careers in the University Advice Service at Wolsey. I've been in international education for over 25 years, and I've lived in many different countries over the world. So I have quite a wide network of both school and university contacts. I think one of the things that sums up the Wolsey Hall student body is it's very, very diverse. So the students coming to me for services are often looking for things all over the world in terms of university entry. So we are well used to dealing with different inquiries from different parts of the globe. And in fact, many of our students apply to go to university in more than one country. It's not uncommon for students to be submitting applications to 1, 2, 3, even 4 different countries. So I think probably from your perspective, one of the things you're thinking about when you're choosing a school is, how are you going to be supported on that journey through the school in terms of making the necessary choices about what subjects to take in order to lead on to the university destination? And also, are you going to get the support in terms of advice and documentation that you're going to need for university entry? And the answer to those questions is, of course, yes. So I work with students in a number of different capacities. One of the services that we have is for students who are about to start IGCSE or their A-level program. They can come and meet with me, and we have a really full discussion about what are going to be the best courses to choose at that particular point in time, given the aims that a student and a family might have. And also even thinking a bit more widely than that in terms of the kinds of extracurricular things that you might want to be involved with, and how you can start setting yourself up to have a really strong profile when it comes time to make those applications. So those appointments are available to you. We also have a university planning service. So that's a consultation that you can come and have with me, and we sort of really look through what you're wanting. So we can talk about potential university destinations, specific institutions, the timeline for application, the documentation that's going to be required, and all of those other sort of details that are involved in putting in a successful application. We also have an all-inclusive service, and this is where you work with me. Often parents or families will start working with me sort of during their AS year. So it might be for 2 years through their AS and their A-level year, or sometimes they'll come a little bit later. And we meet regularly through Zoom, we share through Google Documents, and we just deal with all the different parts of the application process, building a shortlist, putting together CVs, motivation statements, preparing for interviews, and all the documentation and so forth that's necessary. And then if many people are able to navigate that independently, and if you just require the documentation required for university, so that might be in the case of references, predicted grade documents, transcripts, even transcripts if you decide you're moving to another institution. So all of those things are also available through our document and our reference service. We have a separate page on the Wolsey Hall website, so you can go and have a look on there, and you can find out a bit more about me and also about all the different services that are on offer. And also you're given an SPM during your time here, and they'll help to connect you with me should you need to find out anything more, just to pick the right options for you as a family. So yeah, that's a sort of basic overview of what we do, and I look forward to potentially meeting some of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. We're going to pass back to Jessie now for the Q&A session.
We hope you found the video and presentation informative, and they have provided a good overview of Wolsey Hall Oxford and how it works. We would now like to answer any questions that you might have. Today, you can ask your questions by typing them into the Q&A area, which is at the bottom of your screens. When typing a question, please include the age of your child, their level of study, and your country, so that we can be as specific as possible in our answers. We will do our best to answer as many questions as possible in the time available. Please note that we will not be answering any questions that are specific to an individual child today. For these types of questions, please submit an inquiry form on our website, and our admissions team will be in touch to arrange an online meeting or phone call to discuss the child's studies in detail. We will show you where you can find the inquiry form at the end of the webinar today. We will answer some questions via the Q&A channel and some live. So I would like to bring you back to Ruth and Sarah, who look forward to answering some of your questions live today. There's a question regarding, somebody would like to know about tests that we have to determine which level their child should be doing.
Sure, no problem at all. So yes, we, as Sarah mentioned as well, it is a very diverse student body at Wolsey Hall. So we are very used to students coming to us without the UK curriculum background that perhaps they're looking to study, or the Cambridge curriculum background. So we work with families in over 130 countries, and as such, we have different level placement checks, different ways of assessing the curriculum that your child has studied previously and how that fits into Wolsey Hall. I would say it's not so much of a test, it is very much a check. We are a non-selective institution. What our mission really is making sure that every child is studying the right subjects at the right level for them, able to make the best progression, which is one of the reasons why our model allows you to study courses at different levels. Your child might be excelling in maths above their age expectations, so they may be studying at IGCSE level, when actually they're studying the majority of their subjects at year 8 level. Our level placement checks that will be part of your admissions process with our admissions team will allow you to see where your child's previous curriculum studies best fit with Wolsey Hall. So I hope that helps.
Thank you, Ruth. We have a parent here who is thinking about switching their child from doing GCSEs to IGCSEs, and would like to know whether these are equivalent qualifications or not.
Absolutely. They're both level 2 qualifications, meaning that they are seen in exactly the same light by a sixth form college, by a university. The I, it means that the curriculum around which the course has been designed is very international in its outlook. So it doesn't have cultural context necessarily as much within it as the GCSE syllabi, which are designed for a UK student. And saying that, GCSEs are studied across the globe. So there is not a huge difference there. But in terms of the eyes of the universities, they are the same qualification. Just to sort of carry on a little bit there, if you're thinking about switching from your child studying perhaps year 10 GCSEs in school to year 11 IGCSEs, that is something again that we are used to supporting with at Wolsey Hall, and our admissions team will be able to help you because there are differences. So, for example, English literature GCSE through one exam board will not necessarily mean that your child is studying the same texts that the Cambridge IGCSE English literature studies with Wolsey Hall. So our admissions team will be able to help you identify which parts of the courses that you need to study afresh. For some areas, it might be possible to align nicely, but we are very experienced in helping parents switch from year 10 into year 11.
Thank you, Ruth. For students who have yet to be enrolled, they're prospective students, and they're very interested in the career and university advice service. Is this available to them, and what should they expect at the session, please?
Sarah? That's the
Yeah,
point.
we have a pre-enrollment option. So this is available to families who are not yet enrolled, and they can have sort of an initial meeting with me for about 30 minutes, where we can talk through sort of the potential courses that you might want to take and how that might align with your university sort of options in the future. And then obviously, if you do decide to go ahead and enroll and become a fully fledged Wolsey Hall student, then all of the other services will be available to you as well.
Thank you, Sarah. A parent is asking whether their child can do 2 levels in a year. For example, year 8 math and year 9 math in 1 year.
I would say yes, it is possible, but it would take some serious determination and commitment dependent on your child's level of starting. But yes, we do offer the opportunity to fast track. As I said, it's really self-paced. Our courses, our lower secondary courses, are for you have access to them for 12 months. But they are designed around a typical academic year. So our students would normally take between 7 to 9 months to study 1 year of a lower secondary course. Therefore, if your child wanted to fast track and study year 8 in 6 months and year 9 in 6 months, it is feasible, but obviously the number of hours per week to study would need to be increased. So it would just depend. But if you're looking at 2 subjects, I would say the answer is yes, dependent on your child's starting point.
Thank you, Ruth. We have a parent who is asking about what do we mean by a tutor being UK qualified?
Absolutely. It means that they hold a teaching qualification from the UK. So that might be a BA it might be a BEd, so a bachelor's in education. It could be a PGCE. And also all of our tutors are UK classroom experienced as well. So they have years of classroom teaching practice. In addition to that, linked to that, obviously we follow safer recruitment guidance. So all of our tutors hold enhanced DBS checks.
Thank you. How are science experiments carried out in the courses, please?
Sure, no problem. Well, my key word for that one is safely. They are carried out very, very safely at home. They are all designed, when they are included in our courses, to be carried out with appropriate materials that you will find in your home. So in lower secondary, you know, you might be looking at an experiment where you need to boil some water, obviously with adult supervision, again, safely. All of the instructions are broken down. When we come into the higher levels, those that can be carried out safely in the home are part of the course. However, I'm sure you can imagine when we get into A-level chemistry, we don't expect our homeschooling families to have Therefore, if there are experiments that require specific equipment that isn't easily sourced at home, then we will provide alternatives within the course for your child to have that experience. So that might be an interactive experiment, or it might be a video experiment, so they can still learn how to apply the findings of it. Because when we get to the higher levels, that is what they are assessed on in the exam. They're not assessed on carrying out the experiment. They are assessed at the interpretation of data from that experiment. But there's a wide range of science experiments. And just to note, our tutors are used to supporting students all around the world. And our science tutors are great at finding alternatives for you. If you can't source something in your country, or, you know, you're somewhere where you can't, you haven't got access to a piece of grass to put a quadrant on, they will come up with an alternative that will suit your location.
We have a parent who is asking about the support for the students, particularly from the tutor side of things. How much, what kind of support do tutors generally provide, since it's all self-paced? Yeah.
Yeah, so our tutors, if you were studying a maths course with us, for example, you would meet your tutor at the start of the course. They are available via direct messaging on our learning platform throughout your studies on the course. So you can ask them as questions, can be little questions, they can be bigger questions, and your tutor will be able to direct you to appropriate resources to support your study. We are very much about promoting independence and autonomy in your children, and making sure that they are taking those steps to become real independent learners. The tutors are also there to have review calls dependent on the course, to look at the progress that your child has made and to talk through with them and yourself as the parent, but to really make sure that your child understands the areas where they've been excelling, any areas that they need to focus on, and to devise next steps with them. That varies from level to level. The tutors are also there to mark those milestone assignments that occur at key points during the course, giving detailed feedback to your child, which in the examination years is linked to the external criteria set by examination boards, so that when they come to sit their examinations, your child will be fully au fait with how an examiner is going to mark their work. So, making sure that if they've written an English essay, they understand the different assessment objectives that are going to be marked in the exam.
Thank you, Ruth. We have some parents who are very keen to find out about whether they could start their child on a few courses and then maybe say 5 and then add some more later on. I think there are some differences between the lower secondary and the exam courses, right, Ruth?
There are. That is possible. I mean, it really does depend on the levels that you're looking at and when you're looking at adding them in. But yes, it is possible to enroll on a smaller number of courses and then add other courses in. I would suggest, if you're looking at that you book a call with our admissions team, and they'll be able to give you the right advice for your child in terms of timelines and what we would suggest.
Thank you. Some families, they are switching from a different curriculum to possibly thinking of enrolling at Wolsey Hall, and further down the line, they're thinking that what happens when they would like to go on to do another different curriculum, and they might need the documents for that. What kind of services, free or paid services, are there available at Wolsey Hall, please?
Sarah,
when a child or a family are ready to leave Wolsey Hall, whether that is to transfer to another high school institution, primary institution, or whether it's to further education or even possibly into employment, we have a reference service. So this is where the family can choose a number of academic tutors, and they will write a comprehensive written reference about the student's performance on the course. And we put that into a reference that also explains the learning context at Wolsey Hall as well, so that the future institution can really understand the level of sort of independence that was required in order to be able to succeed here. And then we also have a transcript service as well. So this is where all the students' enrollment details, their graduation details, the courses that they've taken, their internal assignment grades, their external results, all of those will be put onto a transcript. And one thing I'll just mention here as well is that often requirements for transcripts do differ a lot around the world. So, what a US institution might require might differ from what, an institution in Croatia or the Middle East might require. So I'm very flexible when it comes to creating these documents. So if a family requires particular terminology, either putting in or leaving out, then I'm quite happy to work that. So I have a document, but it is able to be flexible according to needs, so that you make sure you have what you need when you're ready to move on and apply somewhere else.
Thank you, Sarah. Is it possible to enroll onto A-level courses with predicted grades, please?
We typically like to be able to see a student's grade profile before enrolling on A-level. It does depend on the individual student. It may be that your child has predicted grades for some of their IGCSEs, but already has achieved English and maths. That would mean that certain A-levels would be open to them even before the other results come through. I would say we typically, if you are a new family to Wolsey Hall, we do like to make sure that it is the right fit for you, because there is a big step up between IGCSE and A-level. And we would not want a student studying a course for which it isn't the right pathway, or perhaps there was an alternative that they hadn't considered because they hadn't waited for their results. Because I've worked with a number of students in my time where they have a very They perhaps are very modest, shall we say, in terms of what they're expecting to achieve. So they set their A-level expectations based on what they're expecting to achieve. But when the results come through, they've done fantastically well. And it means that other subjects that they hadn't previously considered are now options. It can be a bit of a surprise. So we always tend to suggest that you wait to have a full grade profile before enrolling on A-levels. However, if you are in the situation where you have some, but not all, again, talk to the admissions team and they'll be able to advise what is possible.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you for all of your questions. I can see there are still some questions in the Q&A chat. We'll continue to keep answering your questions in the typing area, but as we are running out of time, let me share how you can find out if you still have any more questions about homeschooling with Wolsey Hall Oxford, or would like to discuss your child's studies with one of our admissions officers. On the Wolsey Hall website, please complete an inquiry form by pressing on the Contact Us button at the top right, and then click on Email on the blue button that says Submit an Inquiry Form, and our admissions team will then send you some course information and arrange an offer to arrange a meeting or phone call with you, where they can offer you some specialist advice about subjects and course levels suitable for your child. Admissions might recommend some appropriate online level placement checks or checklists to help you choose the most appropriate level of study for your child in each of their chosen subjects. Finally, I would like to extend a big thank you to everyone for joining us today. We hope that you have found the session useful and that it has given you a good understanding of homeschooling with Wolsey Hall. If you have any further questions, please go to our website and submit an inquiry form, and we will be delighted to hear from you. So once again, a big thank you to everyone and have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.